What if a book could kill you? Imagine reading a manuscript, turning page after page, only to realize that with every word you read, your life slips further away. It's not fiction. It's a deadly truth buried in the darkest corners of the world. A truth so terrifying, it's been hidden for centuries. 3 manuscripts, each with the power to end the lives of anyone who dares to read them. These aren't just books. They're time bombs, ticking silently, waiting for the reader to unleash their lethal power. There are whispers, stories passed down from one terrified soul to the next about these manuscripts, tales of deaths that follow the turning of the pages, of lives snuffed out like a candle in the wind. One could say these books have a mind of their own, selecting their victims with a terrifying precision. Their origins are unknown, their creators forgotten, but their existence is a chilling reminder of how dangerous knowledge can be. People have tried to destroy them, to burn their pages and erase their dark influence, but the manuscripts always find a way to survive. They slip through cracks in time, finding their way into the hands of the unsuspecting. Those who are brave or foolish enough to open these cursed pages face a fate worse than death. The chilling truth is, reading these books is more than a risk. It's a death sentence. Welcome to the world of deadly manuscripts, where the written word isn't just a passage of information, it's a weapon. If you want to learn more about these deadly texts and uncover the secrets they hold, subscribe to my channel, Grave of the Shadows, for more spine-chilling stories and deep dives into the unknown. The first of the 3 deadly manuscripts is known as the Manuscript of Endless Dreams. Its origin is as mysterious as the deaths it causes. Some believe it was written by a long-forgotten scribe who sought to understand the boundary between dreams and reality. Others argue that it is the creation of an unknown cult, designed to manipulate the mind and soul of anyone who reads it. One thing is certain, it has claimed the lives of many over the centuries, each death as terrifying as the next. The manuscript itself is an ancient tome, bound in leather that seems to ripple with a strange energy, as if alive. The pages, yellowed with age, are filled with dense, almost cryptic text and intricate illustrations of strange, otherworldly landscapes. The words, though seemingly innocuous at first glance, have a hidden power. Each phrase, each sentence, digs into the reader's subconscious, pulling them deeper into a dreamlike state. At first, the effect of the manuscript is subtle. Readers begin to experience vivid dreams that feel more real than their waking life. These dreams start innocently enough. A walk through a beautiful forest, the warmth of the sun on their face, the smell of fresh air. But these pleasant dreams slowly turn darker, more sinister. The reader becomes trapped in an endless cycle, unable to escape. The line between reality and nightmare blurs, and soon, they cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. The dreams are not just figments of imagination. They are alive, feeding off the reader's fear, amplifying it with each passing night. People who read the manuscript often find themselves waking up in cold sweats, their hearts racing, with a lingering sense of dread. As the dreams intensify, they begin to invade their waking life. Strange occurrences begin happening. Objects moving on their own, whispers in the dark, shadows flickering in the corner of the eye. It's as if the dreams are coming to life, bleeding into reality. At first, the reader might laugh it off, assuming they're simply having nightmares. But over time, the effect becomes undeniable. The dreams feel too real. They feel like they are being watched, controlled, manipulated by an unseen force. The more they try to fight it, the worse it gets. They feel as though they are losing their grip on reality. Friends and family begin to notice the change. The once vibrant person now seems hollow, their eyes darkened by sleepless nights. It's not long before the physical toll begins to show. The skin becomes pale, the eyes sunken, and the body frail. Sleep becomes a distant memory, as the reader cannot escape the grip of the manuscript's dreams. They begin to lose the ability to distinguish between what is real and what is not. The haunting images of their dreams, twisted faces, labyrinthine paths, and endless landscapes, follow them everywhere, tormenting them even in their waking moments. And then the final stage sets in. the reader loses all sense of self. They become a hollow shell, their mind consumed entirely by the manuscript. The once familiar world becomes an alien landscape, distorted and warped by their fractured perception. In the final moments before death, the person falls into a catatonic state, trapped in the dreams they can never escape. And with their death, the manuscript claims yet another soul. But how does the manuscript kill? It is not with a quick, violent end. No, the manuscript's power is far more insidious. It kills the reader's soul, piece by piece, until there is nothing left but an empty vessel. The body may still live on for a while, but the person inside has long gone, consumed by the never-ending nightmare the manuscript weaves. The dreams take their toll on the mind, slowly unraveling it until there is nothing left but madness. And then the body succumbs. Over the years, there have been numerous attempts to destroy the Manuscript of Endless Dreams. People have tried burning it, drowning it, and even burying it deep underground. But the manuscript always returns, finding its way back into the hands of the unsuspecting. Some believe it has a mind of its own, choosing its victims with terrifying precision. Others think that the manuscript is cursed, doomed to repeat the cycle of death and destruction as long as it exists. One chilling account comes from a man named Arthur Jameson, who found the manuscript while traveling through the English countryside in the late 1800s. Jameson, a scholar with an unshakable belief in logic and reason, scoffed at the warnings he received about the book. When he first began reading it, he was intrigued by its odd illustrations and cryptic language. But soon the dreams began. At first they were benign, strange but not threatening. But as the nights wore on, the dreams became more vivid, more intense. Jameson began to lose sleep, his once keen mind becoming clouded by the constant barrage of images and sounds from his dreams. The more he read, the worse it became. He started to notice things in his waking life that shouldn't have been there. Faint whispers, shadows moving in the corners of his vision. Desperate for answers, Jameson sought out the advice of doctors and scholars, but no one could help him. The dreams consumed him, pulling him deeper into madness, until one night, he was found dead in his study, his body cold and lifeless. The manuscript lay beside him, its pages turned to a chapter Jameson had never finished reading. Jameson's death was not the first, nor would it be the last. The Manuscript of Endless Dreams has claimed countless lives, each one a tragic testament to the book's power. It is said that there are still copies of the manuscript scattered across the world, hidden away in libraries, private collections, and forgotten corners of the earth. And with each new reader, it begins its deadly work anew. Some say that if the manuscript is ever destroyed completely, the dreams will cease. But others argue that this is just another myth, a false hope spread by those desperate to stop the inevitable. The truth is, the manuscript is more than just a book. It is a curse, a living nightmare that haunts the world, waiting to claim its next victim. To this day, no one knows where the manuscript originally came from or who wrote it. Some believe it was the work of an ancient order, a group of mystics who sought to unlock the deepest secrets of the human mind. Others believe it was the creation of a single, twisted soul who wanted to understand the boundaries between life and death. Whatever its origins, one thing is clear: the Manuscript of Endless Dreams should never be read. It is a book that kills, slowly and mercilessly, taking everything from its reader until there is nothing left but death. The second deadly manuscript, known as the Grimoire of Eternal Silence, holds a different kind of terror, one that lies not in vivid dreams or visible death, but in the complete erasure of a person's existence. Unlike the Manuscript of Endless Dreams, which consumes the soul with nightmares, this manuscript destroys the very fabric of reality for its reader. It is said that reading even a single page from the Grimoire of Eternal Silence causes the reader to lose their voice, not in the physical sense, but in the metaphysical, becoming unable to speak, unable to express any thought or feeling. What makes it particularly terrifying is that this loss of communication is only the beginning. The manuscript's cover is made of a black, almost obsidian-like material, reflecting light in odd, unnatural ways. The text within is written in a language older than any known dialect, resembling an intricate code or cipher that no one has yet deciphered. The book does not seem to be bound by any ordinary method, and its pages, although yellowed with age, remain smooth and undamaged by time, almost as if they were never meant to be touched by human hands. The true horror of the Grimoire of Eternal Silence lies in the curse it carries. When a person reads it, they are not simply exposed to some arcane knowledge. They are drawn into a pocket of nothingness, a void where they cease to exist in any meaningful sense. As they read, the world around them begins to fade, starting with their ability to interact with others. The first sign that the manuscript is taking hold is a subtle one. The reader's voice begins to weaken. Initially, it may be a slight raspy tone, as if they've caught a cold, but soon it turns into a complete absence of sound. At first, the silence is merely psychological. The reader tries to speak, but no sound emerges from their throat. It's as though the words get trapped inside them, unable to escape. Friends and family think it's a strange, temporary condition, and they try to help by offering remedies, seeking medical advice. But there is no physical ailment. The inability to speak is not caused by a throat infection or illness, but by something far more insidious. As days pass, the silence becomes deeper, more pervasive. The reader begins to lose all ability to communicate, even through writing. Thoughts, once easily expressed through pen or speech, become muddled and incoherent. The once vibrant mind begins to lose its clarity. The reader starts to feel an overwhelming sense of isolation, not because they are physically alone, but because they cannot make themselves known. They feel trapped inside their own body, unable to convey their emotions, their needs, or their desires to anyone else. They are surrounded by people who no longer understand them, even though they can hear their thoughts clearly in their mind. This gradual erosion of communication is what makes the Grimoire of Eternal Silence so cruel. The reader is not killed immediately. Instead, they are subjected to a slow, torturous process of disconnection. Their relationships disintegrate because they cannot speak or write. The world around them starts to lose meaning. They can see people going about their lives, interacting with others, but they are cut off, unable to participate. Their isolation becomes total. The more they read the book, the worse their condition becomes. At this point, the physical changes are subtle but disturbing. The reader's eyes lose their sparkle. Their face becomes blank, and the light in their eyes begins to fade. They still breathe, they still eat, but they become hollow, as though their very essence is being drained. Their physical form is alive, but they are no longer present in the world. A kind of soul death occurs, where the person exists in a limbo-like state, alive, but with no voice, no agency, and no identity. The most disturbing part of this manuscript's curse is that it does not kill the reader outright. The reader continues to exist in this silent, invisible state for as long as they keep reading. If they stop reading the manuscript, their condition remains unchanged, but the death that the book promises is not physical. It is a death of the self. The mind may continue to function, but without the ability to communicate, the reader becomes something less than human, a mere shell of their former self. Over the centuries, there have been reports of entire families being consumed by the book. The Grimoire of Eternal Silence seems to target those who are most eager to uncover its secrets, those who are driven by curiosity, by a need for knowledge that goes beyond what the human mind should understand. The manuscript is said to have a way of finding its victims, pulling them in with its promise of arcane knowledge, and then condemning them to the silence of oblivion. In 1864, a well-known scholar named Professor Edmund Hawthorne came into possession of the grimoire. Hawthorne was known for his unyielding thirst for knowledge, and when he found the manuscript in an old library in Vienna, he was immediately drawn to it. At first, he struggled to comprehend the strange symbols, but after weeks of study, he began to make progress. He spent hours each day reading, deciphering the text, convinced that he was on the verge of discovering something monumental. Soon, Hawthorne began to feel the effects of the manuscript. It started with a strange heaviness in his throat, as though something was blocking his voice. He attributed it to the long hours spent reading and assumed he had strained his vocal cords. But as the days passed, the heaviness grew, and he found that no sound could escape him. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Desperate, he turned to his notes, only to find that his handwriting had become disjointed, his thoughts failing to form coherent ideas. Hawthorne's condition worsened over the following weeks. He could still think clearly, but his ability to express himself disappeared completely. He became more isolated, retreating into his study, where he continued to read the grimoire. His colleagues and friends grew concerned, but by the time they realized the true nature of his condition, it was too late. Professor Hawthorne died in his study, still holding the book in his hands. When they found him, there was no trace of his voice, no trace of his presence. Just a lifeless body and the open manuscript. The Grimoire of Eternal Silence was sealed away after that, hidden from the world to prevent further suffering. But the manuscript has always found a way to resurface, and every time it does, it claims a new victim. Each one silently slipping into a world of utter isolation, unable to cry for help, unable to speak a word. The book does not kill the body immediately, but it slowly eats away at the soul, one page at a time. To this day, no one knows who wrote the grimoire or why. Was it created to punish the curious? Was it meant as a tool of control, a way to silence the voices of those who sought too much power? No one knows. But one thing is clear. The Grimoire of Eternal Silence is not merely a book. It is a death sentence, and once it is read, there is no escape from the silence it brings. The third and final deadly manuscript, the Codex of the Black Heart, is perhaps the most terrifying of all. Unlike the first two, which affect the mind and soul in subtle and gradual ways, this manuscript's power is instant, visceral, and irreversible. It is a book that claims not just the reader's life, but their very essence, as it severs them from the world of the living, binding them to something darker, far more sinister. The Codex of the Black Heart is a grim and macabre artifact, bound in an unnatural black material that seems to absorb light. It has a foreboding aura, as if it is not just a book, but a vessel for something far more malevolent. The cover, embossed with an intricate symbol resembling a twisted heart, is cold to the touch, as though it has been crafted from the very shadows themselves. The pages inside are stained with ink that glistens like blood, and the writing is jagged, as though scratched into the parchment by a desperate hand. The language is ancient, twisted, and filled with dark incantations that speak of a curse so powerful it can erase one's existence from both memory and reality. The effect of the Codex of the Black Heart begins as soon as the reader opens its pages. The first words they read are simple, innocuous even, but soon, the reader feels something shift within them, a tightening in their chest, an unnatural cold that spreads through their veins. The book, like a parasite, begins to take hold of its reader. At first, it is subtle, like a whisper on the edge of their consciousness, but it grows louder with every page turned, like a dark presence that whispers things no one should ever hear. Those who have dared to read the Codex of the Black Heart speak of an overpowering feeling of dread that washes over them as soon as they begin. The ink seems to pulse on the page, and the words appear to shift and change as they read, as if the book is alive, reacting to their thoughts and emotions. It is as if the manuscript is not just a collection of words, but a living force that feeds off the reader's fear and confusion, growing stronger the more they read. As the reader continues, they feel their body begin to change. The physical effects are immediate and horrifying. Their skin grows pale, their limbs feel weak and brittle, and they become nauseous, as if the very life force is being drained from them. The more they read, the weaker they become, until they can no longer stand. The book begins to feed on their vitality, draining the reader of their energy, their memories, and their very sense of self. But the worst part of the curse is what happens next. As the reader reaches the final page, they are struck with a horrifying realization. The book has not just drained their life force. It has also erased their existence from reality itself. They become an empty vessel, unable to interact with the world around them. No one remembers them. Their family, their friends, their colleagues. All of them forget they ever existed. It is as if they were never born, their name never spoken, their face never seen. The world continues without them, but they are trapped, a silent observer to a life that no longer includes them. The Codex of the Black Heart has taken everything from them, everything except their soul. The person remains alive in a twisted, frozen state, unable to die because they are no longer part of the living world. They are lost in a void, an eternal existence without recognition, without purpose, and without a place in the world. Some have described the sensation as a suffocating isolation, a torment that is far worse than death itself. Imagine living, breathing, feeling the cold and hunger, yet unable to connect with anyone or anything. The world moves on, people live their lives, and the reader is left behind, forgotten and invisible. They are trapped in a nightmare of their own making, a prisoner to the manuscript that has stolen their identity. The origins of the Codex of the Black Heart are shrouded in mystery, though many believe it was written by a sorcerer of unimaginable power, someone who sought to break free from the mortal world and achieve a form of immortality through dark magic. It is said that the sorcerer, in his desperation to live forever, used the manuscript to bind his essence to the book itself. He believed that by writing the Codex, he could sever the ties between his soul and the physical world, allowing him to transcend death and exist as a shadow, beyond time and space. However, the dark magic did not work as he intended. Instead of granting him immortality, the manuscript bound his essence to the book, trapping him in a state of perpetual suffering. His mind, twisted by his own creation, became consumed with rage and bitterness, and he poured his cursed energy into the pages, ensuring that anyone who read it would suffer the same fate. The first known victim of the manuscript was a man named Thomas Ainsley, an ambitious archaeologist who discovered the Codex in a forgotten tomb in Egypt. Ainsley, intrigued by the book's mysterious origins, began to read it, ignoring the warnings that were etched into the cover. First, he felt nothing, but as he delved deeper into the book, he began to experience strange sensations: pain, nausea, dizziness. He tried to stop, but the book seemed to pull him in, compelling him to continue reading, as though it had a will of its own. By the time Ainsley finished the manuscript, he had become a shadow of his former self. His body was weakened, his mind frayed, and he began to feel the chilling emptiness that the book had bestowed upon him. As he wandered through the streets of Cairo, no one recognized him. His friends and colleagues, who had once known him, passed by him without a second glance. He tried to speak, to shout for help, but no words came out. It was as if he had never existed at all. Desperate, Ainsley sought refuge in the desert, where he wandered for days, searching for an escape that never came. Eventually, he succumbed to the effects of the curse, dying alone, forgotten, and erased from history. His death was not the end of the manuscript's curse, however. The Codex of the Black Heart lives on, waiting to claim its next victim. The manuscript is now believed to be lost, hidden away in the deepest corners of the world, beyond the reach of those who would seek to destroy it. It is said that its power remains, that whoever dares to open its pages will be consumed by the same curse that claimed Ainsley and countless others. To this day, the Codex of the Black Heart remains one of the most feared and dangerous artifacts in existence. Its ability to erase the reader from reality makes it not just a book of death, but a book of eternal torment, a cruel reminder that some knowledge is too dangerous to be known. The three deadly manuscripts, the Manuscript of Endless Dreams, the Grimoire of Eternal Silence, and the Codex of the Black Heart, hold within their pages not just dangerous knowledge, but unimaginable power. These are not mere books, but cursed objects that hold the ability to destroy lives, alter realities, and erase entire existences. What makes them so dangerous is not the physical harm they can cause, but the profound psychological and spiritual damage they inflict on their readers. It's often said that knowledge is power, but these manuscripts show us that some knowledge is not meant to be known. Their very existence poses a threat to the balance of life, as each page reveals more than the reader is prepared to handle. These books do not simply convey information. They manipulate the mind and the soul, altering perception and reality to such an extent that the reader is left a shell of who they once were. In short, the manuscripts are tools of destruction, wielding knowledge that is far too dangerous to be allowed to circulate. The Manuscript of Endless Dreams traps its readers in a cycle of nightmares so consuming that it completely overtakes their waking life. This is not just the stuff of nightmares, but an insidious force that warps the very fabric of a person's consciousness. The manuscript doesn't simply show a person dreams. It hijacks their mind, pulling them deeper into a world of terror, confusion, and dread. The dreams themselves are not arbitrary. They are designed to dismantle the individual's psyche, one horrifying experience at a time. Readers who come into contact with it are not simply affected by it, they are consumed. Over time, the individual loses their sense of reality, unable to distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. This gradual erosion of the mind leaves them in a perpetual state of fear and confusion, unable to find rest, until they eventually succumb to madness. Then there is the Grimoire of Eternal Silence, whose effects are even more insidious. It doesn't kill outright. Instead, it strips the reader of their voice, their ability to communicate, and ultimately their sense of self. The agony that this book inflicts is not immediate, but rather, it is the slow, crushing loss of identity. Imagine a person who cannot speak, cannot write, and cannot express themselves in any way. Their mind remains intact, yet they are locked within their own body, isolated from the world. They are forced to watch as their relationships dissolve, their memories fade, and their sense of self slowly disappears. The manuscript does not just cause physical death. It annihilates the very essence of a person's existence. They are erased not just from the world's memory, but from their own. And then, perhaps the most terrifying of all, the Codex of the Black Heart. Unlike the first two, this book operates instantly. The moment its reader opens its pages, it begins to drain them of their life force, slowly erasing them from the world of the living. The manuscript severs the reader's connection to reality, binding them to an existence that is neither here nor there. It is not just death. It is a profound erasure, where no one remembers you, not even the people closest to you. Your very identity is wiped clean, leaving you to wander through the world like a ghost, unable to communicate, interact, or even be seen. The manuscript does not leave its victims to die. It leaves them trapped in a purgatory-like state, invisible and forgotten, a fate far worse than death itself. The fact that these manuscripts still exist is a terrifying reality. Despite all attempts to destroy them, the books manage to resurface time and time again, finding their way into the hands of the curious and the brave. The Codex of the Black Heart, for example, has been buried, hidden, and sealed away in countless locations over the years, only to be discovered by someone seeking to unlock its secrets. These manuscripts are not passive objects. They are actively seeking new readers, almost as if they have a mind of their own. They are drawn to the curious, the ambitious, and the reckless, to those who believe they can control the power within. But the truth is, no one can control them. What makes these manuscripts particularly dangerous is their capacity to transcend time and space. They are not bound by the physical world, and so even when destroyed in one place, they find their way back, slipping through the cracks of time. They do not belong to any one era or location. They are eternal. As long as they exist, there will always be someone who is foolish enough to read them, to seek out the forbidden knowledge they contain, and to suffer the consequences. The manuscript's curse is not just on the reader. It extends to those around them, leaving a trail of death, suffering, and despair in its wake. In many ways, these books represent the ultimate danger, the danger of knowledge that cannot be undone. Throughout history, there have been numerous efforts to rid the world of these cursed books. Scholars, priests, and mystics have all tried to destroy them, but the manuscripts are resilient, always managing to survive. Some believe that the manuscripts were created as punishments, designed to ensure that knowledge too powerful for humanity would never be used. Others believe they are relics of a long-forgotten civilization, designed to control or manipulate the world in some way. Regardless of their origins, one thing is certain: they must be destroyed. To preserve the world from the horrors they bring, these manuscripts must be sealed away forever. Their existence poses a threat not just to those who read them, but to the very fabric of reality itself. The longer they are allowed to persist, the greater the risk of them falling into the wrong hands. The manuscripts are too dangerous to be allowed to exist, for they do not simply take lives, they take identities, memories, and souls. Their destruction is not merely a matter of convenience. It is a matter of survival for the human race. The Manuscript of Endless Dreams, the Grimoire of Eternal Silence, and the Codex of the Black Heart are not just books, they are cursed artifacts. They hold within them knowledge that is too dark, too dangerous for any human to possess. And until they are destroyed, we are all at risk. Their continued existence is an invitation for those who would seek to unlock their power, and it is a path that leads only to death and destruction. As we come to the end of this journey through the 3 deadly manuscripts, we are left with a profound question. Should knowledge be locked away forever, hidden from the eyes of those who seek it? The manuscripts we've explored are not just relics of a forgotten past. They are warnings, powerful lessons about the dangers of seeking knowledge that goes beyond the limits of human understanding. In a world where curiosity is often celebrated, these books stand as a chilling reminder that some knowledge is simply too dangerous to be possessed. The Manuscript of Endless Dreams, with its power to trap the reader in a world of nightmares, shows us how our mind can be twisted and manipulated by forces beyond our control. The Grimoire of Eternal Silence strips away the very essence of who we are, leaving us isolated, forgotten, and invisible, a ghost in the world. And the Codex of the Black Heart, with its ability to erase a person's existence entirely, teaches us the true cost of knowledge, the death of the self. These manuscripts do not just kill bodies. They take away everything that makes us human, our memories, our relationships, our identities. But perhaps the most important lesson to take from these manuscripts is the realization that knowledge is not neutral. It can be used for great good, but it can also be weaponized, twisted, and turned against us. These books, in their destructive power, reveal that there are boundaries in the pursuit of knowledge that must never be crossed. Some things are simply beyond our comprehension, and it is better not to seek them out. As we reflect on the impact these manuscripts have had on their readers, it becomes clear that their destruction is not just necessary, it is imperative. The world cannot afford to let these books remain in existence. They represent a ticking time bomb, waiting for the next curious soul to stumble upon them and fall victim to their dark power. Each time one of these manuscripts resurfaces, it is not just a threat to the individual who reads it, but to the very fabric of reality itself. The question now becomes, what can be done? How can we ensure that these deadly manuscripts are finally destroyed, sealed away so that they can never harm another living soul? It is not an easy task, for these books have a way of finding their way back into the world, slipping through cracks in time and appearing when least expected. Yet we must continue to try. We must treat these books not as relics to be admired, but as objects of destruction, weapons that must be locked away and kept from those who would misuse them. In the end, the question of whether knowledge should be hidden from us is one that we must all grapple with. Should we continue to seek the forbidden, to push the boundaries of what we can understand? Or should we, as a society, accept that there are certain truths that are better left unknown? The 3 deadly manuscripts offer us no easy answers, but they do offer us a powerful lesson. Some knowledge is far too dangerous to be sought, and some books should never be opened.